Have a forum up here, and it's 7:03, so we're going to get going. Thank you all for being here. I am Lisa Cable Blanchard. I am currently the president of the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council. The keys to City Hall are up here. If the bathroom doors are closed, they're right behind you in the hallway. Please come up and grab them, and you can get in that way. If you would like to speak on any agenda item, there are a couple of copies of the agenda up here. But if you'd like to speak on any agenda item, please come up and fill out one of these green cards and pass them up to the front, and we'll make sure that you get your moment to speak. Yes. That's the last page, sorry. Oh, that's the end is just this is our only. We need to do one copy of your. Am I looking at it? Oh, I know where I'm at. Yeah. Okay. Francis, do you need a roll call?
No, I know who you are.
Great, thank you.
We know who you are.
If I don't,
Oh, I'm sorry, you got here. Sorry, my bad. All right. President's report, not too much to report. Most of the items that I have to speak about are in the body of the agenda. We started today to work on finding a date for our next neighborhood cleanup, so that will be announced forthwith. Thank you again for being here. I want to say again to those of you who were here and to those of you who weren't, thank you so much for coming out to our special meeting on the 23rd. It really made it much easier for the council to make an informed decision when there was such a turnout of people speaking on that important issue. It just makes it much easier for us to understand what the will of the community is and what their reasons are. So thank you again for coming out, those of you who did, and I plan to attend that planning meeting on the 7th and represent what was said by the community at that meeting, at that time. And that is all I have to say.
Doesn't get better than this. This is where we come out and we beat you.
We are moving on to the consent calendar.
Hey, Matt? Can't we just be like, yes, no, white is yes?
There's a lot of questions.
What's your system?
We don't just vote yes or no, because
Sometimes there's nays.
you know, but we vote for sub-district directors as well. So
We're out of order.
All right. We're moving on to the consent calendar. The following items will be voted on without discussion. Any board member may request that items be removed and voted on separately. I am requesting that we remove the January MER from the consent calendar because the city hasn't produced it yet. It should be produced probably in the next 2 days, but we'll have to vote on it next month. So that is removing item D3 from the consent calendar.
Do you need a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Great. So now we are voting on the consent calendar as amended without item 3. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Don't disappear with it.
Let's do the chair.
The blacklist.
Remind me to table.
Okay.
Is this actually easier?
I like it.
More passes.
Any opposed? Sorry.
Any abstentions?
Any abstentions? Okay. Thank you. Announcements. Sean is not here tonight. Sean from CD14 is representing, along with other staff members up from Huizar's office, Eagle Rock on behalf of fighting against the Glendale power plant changes that are going to affect us primarily. So they're there this evening. He will, I'm sure, inform us on what the upshot of that is after tonight, but these meetings are concurrent, so they chose to go there, which I said thank you for representing us. So hopefully that will go well.
We understand there were about 400 people who showed up.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
And it was his birthday yesterday, and we were going to sing him a song, and
Sorry. All right. Do we have, I don't see Officer Ochoa. Do you have any of our other,
Somebody.
There was a fireman.
Was there the fire?
We have the Eagle Rock High School.
yes, I don't see anybody else right now.
No, there was a fireman, but.
Principal Kite, would you like?
He was standing right here, I saw him.
Maybe he'll come up.
There's a fire.
Maybe there's a call, yeah.
Always stand over here. Hi, I'm Eileen Kite, principal of Eagle Rock Senior High School, International Baccalaureate World School. In 2 minutes, I talk about arts, athletics, and academics. So in arts, we had a free show last week and Friday night. It was written by a teacher. It was about the artwork of Michelangelo and Da Vinci with Raphael in the middle, and the students created the set, and the students acted with the community theater troupe. So it was really, really incredible. In athletics, our football coach, Andrew Moran, was named State Coach of the Year by the National High School Football Coaches Association. So that was very, very exciting. And in academics, 3 big things. Start with Hello is one of the programs from Sandy Hook Promise, and we're a Sandy Hook Promise school. It started on Monday, and it's about recognizing the signs of social isolation. So when you see someone alone, you reach out and help, and start with hello. And so in that campaign, it's getting to know other people's names. So it's been really great. So we have different things like wearing name tags. We have a 9-name bingo, so you get to learn 9 people's names. 5 LACC courses started this week. So we have cinema on campus, physiology, and different classes like that. So high school students are concurrent college students. Our first PTSA book fair starts on Monday, so we're super excited. And the most exciting thing I get excited about a lot of things, but I'm really, really excited that Monday was the 100th day of school, and on Friday we're celebrating 1,700 students who have perfect attendance for the first 100 days of school. Yes, yes. So with that, I'm your very proud principal of Eagle Rock Senior High School. We have monthly tours to celebrate International Baccalaureate, so you're welcome to attend all community. Just go on our website, register, and you'll take student tours.
And on March 18th, Mr. Oliveros' students are going to be having an exhibit at Occidental College from 1 to 5 p.m. Sunday, March 18th.
Sweet.
I just confirmed it today.
Yes, and thank you. In February, there's also a community cactus gallery. You know, Cactus Gallery will also be another student-run art show. So thank you. Yay. All right, so have a great night, everyone. Do we have did we find our LAFD representative, or do we have anybody from the assembly office, or doesn't look like anyone else is here? All right. Oh, you are?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danny. I'm from the AE1 Assembly Office. I'm the new field rep. I actually just started last week, and so.
Can you speak up just a tiny bit?
Yes. I am Danny. I'm from the Assembly District 51 office. I'm a field rep. So if you need anything, please contact me. I'll disperse, I don't have a business card yet, but I'll disperse the Assemblywoman's business card with my contact information on the back.
When did you take office?
She took office December 5th.
Thank you. Well,
Thank you.
let's go to the public safety report. Sylvia?
Okay, well, there's actually nothing, it's the usual property crime and little rash of car thefts. So not a lot to report. I'm going to talk a little later about the surge training. So I think I'll just leave it at that then.
Great, thank you. Treasurer's report. Should we jump ahead, or should we jump until you're, you can just come down more. That's better.
Sure, yeah, I just need to.
All right, she needs to get going here. So who's next down there? Matt, do you have anything to report?
Matt Hemingway, Sub-District 4, and Secretary. I got nothing to report.
Okay.
There's probably something up there, but.
John?
John Escobedo, Sub-District 3. I had a meeting with Kathy West invited me to a meeting with the lady in charge, well, I will tell the Sam's one. With the lady that's in charge of marketing, Eaggle Rock Plaza, all of our favorite place to go, right? And we all shop there, right? At Eaggle Rock Plaza? Come on, how many of you shop at Eagle Rock Plaza?
I go to Target.
Target, right? And what about the rest of the places? Not much, right? So they're trying to improve people going there, and what they're having is they're having a kids club. And actually, I got to download the thing. I'll have it by the end of the meeting. Let me just give you information on the kids club they're going to have for parents with kids, and they're trying to get people more involved at Eagle Rock Plaza, so of course they'll shop there more, right? There you go. So, and then also I've had a couple of my constituents ask me to make sure that we push. We don't want the Ernie's Taco turned into a huge, ugly eyesore. So several people have approached me in my walks in the neighborhood and made sure that we take care of that. And I told them I should we would present our findings to the meeting. You know. That's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Becky?
Hi, Becky Newman, Vice President and Subdistrict 1 Director. Sylvia and I graduated from Civic U 2.0 last night.
Congratulations.
And I thought it was a really great program. We learned a lot. I think how to, as I mentioned at the last meeting, sort of maximize the limited resources of the council towards things that we can actually affect change on, and how to engage with various city departments and offices. So we look forward to sharing that with other council or other neighborhood council representatives. And one thing that I hope to put on the agenda for the March meeting, and I had a conversation today with a representative from the Venice Neighborhood Council, is about a homeless reunification program that neighborhood council initiated last year, and they actually were able to reunify 30 homeless residents with family and relatives through that effort in partnership with nonprofits and faith-based organizations. So hoping to maybe have him come to tell us more about the program to see if that's something that the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council might be interested in, and share more information about that effort.
Thank you. Omar?
I have nothing to report. Mark Ferguson, Subdistrict 3, I have nothing to report.
Pat Easton, Subdistrict 1, nothing to report at this time.
You ready now?
I'm ready. Now, this is the treasurer's report. Not much has changed since our January report. We paid some office expenses and paid for our ad space in the Boulevard Sentinel and the outreach category. Our total budget amount is $41,786. To date, we have spent $1,772 of that, which leaves us just over $20,000 for the end of the fiscal year. Can you repeat the amount because somebody just called?
Sure, it's just over 20,000.
Over 20,000.
Just over $20,724.18.
Does that include our expensive banners?
No.
That you paid for?
No, we haven't paid for those yet, and I imagine we will do a little bit of damage with some MPGs tonight.
Do you know, like, out of like what's like outstanding, like approximately?
In terms of money that we've already voted on, approved, I don't. No.
Yeah, we did get caught up on most of it, so most of it is the very recent stuff, which the big one is
Was
the
that
banners.
Yes.
What was it, like 7,000?
7.
I think it was the 7th.
Seven, yeah.
Okay.
But everything with the exception of what we, you know,
Yeah. So we
approved
could
at
say
the
about
last
10,
meeting
yeah.
and haven't expended yet, yeah.
Okay.
We're in the what, third quarter of our?
We can't spend, our final approvals have to be made at the beginning of May, because they close out the fiscal, really, I mean, usually fiscal years close out at the end of June, but really for us, we stop being able to spend anything at the beginning of June. So, yeah. So we're really in the last quarter now.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything else? We removed the January MER from the consent.
Yeah, for some reason it's not, they don't give me
At
the
the
option
last-
to generate it yet.
Yeah, at the last training, they did say that at the beginning of the new month, it will take them at least 5 days. So in this case, this is one of the days when we're too
Got
close
it.
to the beginning of the month. But that'll be up soon, I'm sure.
Okay, Ron Chowdhury, Business Director. I had some emails back and forth with Sean. I think we're going to try to set up a informational meeting about the new cannabis regulations and some businesses that may be opening up in the neighborhood. I think there's one that's opened up, I think it's near the 2. I think it was a medical marijuana place, but now I think it's gone recreational. So we'll talk about that, and an idea I'd like to put on the agenda for next time is if we do t-shirts, have a t-shirt contest, maybe sponsored by business, but have maybe kids in the high school maybe submit t-shirt contest, but I'll put that on the agenda for next time. So maybe we get some outside input into our next round of neighborhood swag. That's it.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Madeline Kipe. I'm the youth director. So an exciting thing to report this month is we completed the Great Kindness Challenge throughout the community. So it was, I think 5 major schools participated. So Eagle Rock High School, Eagle Rock Elementary, Richard Riordan Primary, Yorkdale, and even some from Franklin and a few people from the district, and I'm pretty sure a few people from the neighborhood council. So the Great Kindness Challenge, it was a nationwide effort to promote kindness for the week of January 22nd to 26th. And so at Eagle Rock, you could participate by participating in one of the daily challenges we had each day of the week, or completing an item on an A to Z list of kindness acts, or 3, participating in a set of daily tasks that were like made up by someone else other than myself. And so after the week, we got 266 responses on our Google form of people who had participated, saying the different things that they had done and what they liked about the Kindness Challenge. And so a few cool things people said were that they felt participating in the Kindness Challenge allows our great community to become closer. Being allowed to participate allows me to feel a part of something. And another cool one was a great way to involve everyone and on how to be kind, and it shows the greatness of our community. So it was a really positive thing to have going on our campuses, and it showed that Eagle Rock is very tight-knit, and it was just able to bring happiness to a lot of people, which is really awesome. My goal is to share this info on the neighborhood Facebook page to just let everyone know like how successful the campaign was. And we've shared the information with the state superintendent, who's really pushing this among schools in California this year. And then finally, as they mentioned before, there's a lot of Eagle Rock students who are going to be hosting art shows throughout the community in February and in March, both at Occidental, at Center for the Arts, and at other locations. So look out for those art shows being publicized because they're really cool showcases of student artists. Thank you.
Would you say your name again?
I'm Madeline.
Kei. Spell the last
There's a
K-E-I.
Okay, thank you.
Susan?
I'm Suzanne Smith. I'm the homelessness liaison and the faith-based groups director. I want to report we had a lot of people turn out for our homelessness count. I worry a little bit that our numbers will be low because there were some sweeps that occurred just before the count, which meant that people dispersed, and some have now come back, but they were not there at the time of the count. So our numbers may be a little off, but we have a great turnout, and we will continue to be working with Recycle Resources in particular to address the many issues in our community regarding homelessness, especially the encampments. And I love Becky's information about a mentorship program, because one of the really important things about homelessness is that it is a very labor-intensive thing to resolve. It's very individualized, and so the more we can get people involved who have some time to spend with folks who are experiencing homelessness, the more successful we can be in not just finding them housing, but keeping them in housing. And the other thing was that the neighborhood council was going to sign up for a dinner, to serve dinner at the homeless shelter in Highland Park. All of the dates that we chose were full, but no, I mean, that's good. It means that other folks in the community are stepping forward. So I will be in touch with you. If the shelter season does not extend beyond February 28th, then they will begin the Saturday immediately following with their drop-in center from 9 to 12. And so they suggested we might want to do breakfast. So on one of those early Saturdays. So I'll be in touch when we find out what the status is. Great, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Chloe Renee Ziegler, Boulevards Director, and I have a few things to say also. I want to report that the MLK Day of Service with Occidental, which is a yearly day of service where Occidental College sends students out in all of the cities to help the communities, was a success. I reached out this year because I had done several of those days of service with another group I was a part of, and I got a group of high school students that Occidental helps with a program called Upward Bound, I think, yes. And we cleaned the native garden that was implemented here a few years ago, and it was amazing. It was so great. Those kids were looking at me a little strange in the beginning, like, what does she want? And then they worked so hard, it was amazing, because it needed a really good winter trim. We were going to do something with the homeless shelter, and that didn't work out because they already send students out once a week to the shelter. And I also want to encourage everybody to get in touch with this shelter and go organize a dinner. I've done it several times, it's amazing, or a breakfast. We did a breakfast for Christmas, and it's really fun, especially with kids. It's really amazing. The other thing, I don't remember if I already told you about it, is that I reached out to Oxy to introduce Mike Christie, a second grade teacher from Dahlia that Peter introduced me to, who's building bat houses with his second grade kids. And Oxy's very interested. There's several biology teachers, the guy who organizes the Feast Garden and the community engagement program. And they're working together to get a bathhouse installed on Fiji Hill. Right, Jim? I don't know where Fiji Hill is.
Eastern portion of the campus.
So that's the whole hill is being restored to native.
We started,
You
the
started.
Twins have made it a small but effective start.
Right, so that's really good. And then I think Lisa and maybe Matt and I are trying to organize a few more street cleanings. Hello, Dave. So anybody who sees streets that need cleanups or, you know, messy environments, please let us know. Just email us or me, and we're going to get that going, right? Great. Yep.
Does messy environment include my desk?
No, we will not go to this.
All right, Natalie?
Natalie Fiedler, Sustainability Director. Nothing really to report, stay tuned. We're still trying to arrange a date that will work for both Metro, DOT, and a safe cycling class. So there will be a day, there'll be a forum on how to get out of your car more and use public transportation and bicycles and so forth. And your feet. Somebody will come teach us how to walk. So that'll probably be March.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter Feinstone. I have nothing to report.
Jesse?
Jesse Salcedo, Subdistrict 2 Director. Actually just wanted to mention on the budget side of things. So for, I sent an email earlier today to the board. The city is a few months away from finalizing its budget for the next fiscal year. So we're a few months away. Well, the budget advocates, neighborhood council budget advocates, for folks that aren't familiar, this is a small group of folks that represent the neighborhood councils along with the city departments. So they sit down with them and discuss the priorities from the neighborhood council and vice versa. Well, there's a survey, so there's a stakeholder survey that was recently distributed. So I just wanted to let folks know we have a few weeks, it looks like, so the end of the month. It only took 2 minutes, so if you get a chance, the survey is really to get more input from neighborhood council stakeholders, because who, if not us, right, can chime in as far as what are the priorities in our communities and neighborhoods. So what should the departments be looking at, and mayor and city council, as we move forward to develop the budget. So the survey, if anyone here is interested, you can go to the website, www.ncbala.com. Again, www.ncbala.com. Take you 2 minutes to fill out a short survey, and that's really it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we put it on the Facebook page? Yeah. It took 2 minutes.
David, do you have anything to report?
No.
All right.
So we are on to public comment on non-agenda items.
Allegra Padilla?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I work at Occidental College as coordinator of community programs with 3 different initiatives: Oxy Arts, Center for Community-Based Learning, and the Institute for the Study of Los Angeles. And the 3 groups were kind of thrown together to support the opening of the Oxy Arts space on New York Boulevard. So a couple years ago, the college purchased a building. There was an RFP put out to the campus groups, and Oxy Arts won the bid. So the building is scheduled to be open probably in spring of 2019. The deadline just got pushed back because of permitting issues, amongst other factors. But we are holding creative exchange workshops starting at Franklin High School tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. Apologies for the short notice. I missed the January meeting. And then we're having another one on Tuesday, February 27th at Occidental College during the lunch hour. So these are opportunities to be updated about the project, but also to create a collective vision. So at the last workshop, we had about 60 people turn out. We had a wonderful showing of partners from both off and on campus. So we had a number of schools, arts groups, neighbors, and we strive to make this an inclusive space. So we make sure that there's and bilingual interpretation. So I'll be around for about another 20 minutes if anyone has any questions. Any questions? Anybody? Yeah. Allegra Padilla.
And where exactly, what are the parameters of the art space? Where is
So
it?
across from Troy Burgers on York and Arndale, so there's about, it's a building that has about maybe 4 to 5 slots. And so three of those slots will be used for Oxy Arts space, which will hold about 50 people max. So it's not probably as big as some people think. And then the other 2 slots are going to be for restaurant, like little mini restaurants. So if you contact me, I can send you a sheet with the specs. We're looking to put things in those spaces that will contribute to the fabric of the community. So no national chains, affordable price points. And so as part of my work, I want to make sure that people know about that opportunity as well for local business owners.
What about T-Mobile? You aren't good on T-Mobile.
Probably not.
You're on the, Lizzie, you're on the agenda already there.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any, again, if you want to speak on any agenda or non-agenda item, please come up and fill out a green card and pass it up here to us. We're going to move on to Sylvia Beltran, who is here to speak to us from the Department of Water and Power.
Hi, everyone. I am your new representative from LADWP, Sylvia Beltran. So I'm new to the department, I'm new to the city, and I'm what they call off-the-street hire. So, but don't worry, I got a lot of experience in outreach. But I'm here tonight just to introduce myself, give you my contact information. I'm just going to share a couple of things with you if you don't know some of what we're doing. We have what we call an Equity Metrics Data Initiative. Have any of you heard of that program? Yeah. Okay, well, it's on our website, and what we're doing is we're assessing how well our programs, services, and resources are spread among the stakeholders of LA by geography as well as demographics. So we're measuring how well we're doing with all the communities throughout the city of LA. So I invite you to go to our website and check that out. We update that every month. And then wanted to let you know, remind you that our board meetings are every second and fourth Tuesdays of the month at 10 a.m. You can also call in, so try to do that. I think it's really important that we stay engaged with what our commissioners are doing and what they're voting on. And the last thing I want to mention is that Commissioner Aura Vasquez has office hours. So if anybody wants to meet with her, you can. It's on the website. She has office hours every fourth Tuesday of the month from 4 to 6. So I encourage you, if you have something, a burning desire that you want to talk to her about, good, bad, and different, please call her office and schedule an appointment. I sit in with her, take notes, and I'm the one who channels that data requisition throughout the DWP for resolution. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, my contact information, before I forget. So it's really easy. Sylvia, Sylvia, period, Beltran, Beltran, at lawp.com. And my phone number is, forgive me, I have to look here, 213-367-5206. Okay, so my schedule is a 5:40. I'm not out every other Friday. I'm there every single weekday, so you can reach me pretty much at all times. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. This is yours.
Hi, Leah. You're up.
Oh, thanks. Many of you have this already, but just in case you don't have it, I wanted to make sure you have it. You just had a copy. This is called The Dirty Dozen, and it's 12 of the notorious toxins, thank you, emitted in extraction and production, oil and gas. And I'm here today to talk about the 2,500 feet health and safety buffer. Thank you for letting me come today. I'm coming with my friend Monique. I'm coming from a variety of allies who are helping out a group called STAND. And STAND means standing together against neighborhood drilling. And STAND itself is a coalition of 6 groups, including Communities for a Better Environment, Esperanza Community, Housing Corporation, the Holman United Methodist Church, SCOPE, Physicians for Social Responsibility, and the Redeemer Community Partnership. And do you want to talk about why it was organized, Monique?
Yes.
I think you ought to go there.
Hello everyone, good evening. Thank you for giving us the time to share with you our story. My name is Monique Uriarte, and I'm going to share my personal story about this coalition, why this coalition stand up. Years ago, back in late 2010, early 2011, was a leak in one of the oil drilling just across of my building apartments. Was a horrible emissions, and unfortunately not only my family, my daughter, but a lot of people in the community got sick with nosebleed, headaches, stomach pain. Personally, my daughter on that time was 9 years old, and she started with spontaneous nosebleed. And I need to bring into my bed because I was scared and she can shower in her own blood during she was asleep. And was so sad that that conversation between parents and the community was the same. And we start organizing ourselves and create a campaign called People Not Pozos, People Not Wells. After many years of fighting, unfortunately Senator Barbara Baxter came and asked Alenco to shut down operations. They shut down operations temporarily. I'm sorry, my English, my British accent is really strong, right? Right? Okay. But this company trying to reopen again, even though it's a lot of violation, even though City of Los Angeles sued this company, U.S. EPA inspector, when they came with Senator Barbara Baxter, they became sick on a few minutes over there. And what's different issues in our health is jeopardized? Yeah. Jeopardized if these operations continues. Unfortunately, Alenco is not the only one in City of Los Angeles. It's hard to believe on this century we are still using fossil fuels as an energy. I think it's not a consequence that all over the world we are looking to trying to become and get renew energy. And we are really conscious that oil industry say, but how about the jobs? It's a lot of people who are gonna lose the jobs. Seriously, it's it's a crime for us to decide if we want to continue with one job, even though that job poisons their own workers. And not to switch and re-educate and retrain that a few workers working for the industry. We want to, and I invite you to contact your city council and asking to support the 2,500 buffer between oil production and sensitive lands. Because our future, our kids, our environment needs from us. We have the power to end this. As a mother, as a resident, as a people who loves the environment, as a mother who loves the children, I asking you for the support. Thank you.
And just to wrap up, thank you, Monique. And just to wrap up, to summarize, we're asking a letter of support to the City Council for the 2,500 feet health and safety buffer because currently there are no zoning regulations between oil wells and sensitive uses in the City of LA, which is unusual. Many cities and towns have zoning laws regarding oil drilling and sensitive uses like Dallas. But LA doesn't, even though LA is a much larger city, millions of people. We have 628,000 people that live within a half mile of an oil well. And I say half mile, 2,500 feet deliberately because that has been the number that has come up repeatedly in the study by panels of independent scientists about most impact. So we're asking for that specific number. We're asking for a letter of support because people are dangerously ill. And the nosebleeds are indicative of other problems. It affects the neurological system, it affects the circulatory system, it affects the endocrine system, it affects numerous systems. And lastly, we're encouraged, because we now have a petroleum administrator, we should have had one for the past 35 years, but finally the city has one. We were legally bound to have one, but have been negligent all this time. We now have one. He's looking into this issue. He's had 120 days to examine this. It's going to be coming before City Council for a vote. The Health Commission has already unanimously agreed that we need the 2,500 feet health and safety buffer, and we're looking forward to having your support. We have already had the support of numerous neighborhood councils, including in Wilmington, San Pedro, Reseda, Pacoima, Sunland, Glassell Park, Northridge, Tarzana, Echo Park, Silver Lake, Highland Park, just name a few. Thank you.
Thank you.
When's the vote for the city council?
I'm not sure. It will be soon though.
Okay.
Is there a motion in the council files?
There is, it's called 17-0447. I want our city council people to know that their citizens support them for standing up to a very powerful organization in the oil and gas industry. They have a lot of money, and I think that politicians have repeatedly over history been intimidated by them. But we need these regulations particularly because it's eco-racism. There are not oil drilling in areas that are now predominantly white. They have zone oil drilling out, but they keep it open in areas that are predominantly people of color and low income, and we have to rectify this. Thank you.
And so, Leah, I'm Matt Hemingway, but
Hey, Matt.
we talked on email, on the email, if you all have email. And I'll forward you sent me and whatnot, and then the council file too, which we can just Google too. And then if somebody wants to, take it upon themselves to write a letter, that'd be great. I don't think we can vote on one tonight. We have no wordage, maybe we can vote to say we will write a letter of support, and you generally support this. Somebody wants to make a motion of that.
I have a draft that we've recommended, but there's also a draft that you can see from other neighborhood councils that can recommend that their land use put a lot of time and effort into it, like the Delray Neighborhood Council.
Yeah.
According to this, it's still pending in committee. Did it get voted on in committee, or has it been?
No, it hasn't
Okay,
been
so
voted
it's
on
still in
yet.
committee.
That's
Okay.
why I'm here, so that City Council, when they do vote on it, know that they have support of their neighborhood council.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's been in committee since June 2017.
Yeah, they had 120 days to finish the study. Unfortunately, they don't have enough money to really support staff-wise the petroleum administrator. He's working with a very small staff.
Okay, well, I would like to make a motion to write a community impact statement for
Can I
this.
speak on the item? I brought a speaker card for
Oh,
it.
you did?
Yes.
Are we missing speaker cards somewhere?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it got buried.
Okay. Can I speak now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Giuseppe, I'm with Creed LA. We empathize any potential health impacts. And we thank Stand LA for raising awareness, but we take issue with the 2,500-foot setback solution. The solution can lead to economic injustice, job losses. 60% of the jobs are held by minorities. There'll be side effects such as higher gas prices, higher prices on goods and services, and these affect lower income communities more. We support the study. We want the city to finish the study and complete it to better understand the health impacts and the economic impacts. We need to find a solution that deals with any potential health impacts that does not involve people losing their jobs, and usually their only source of income. We want to urge you to wait for the study to better evaluate the public health and economic impacts. And we want to find a solution that comes from the city's study, not from any kind of independent group, either Stand LA or from us, that comes from the city's study, and that takes into account health and economic impacts to better understand what the issues are and the effects.
Yeah, what is your basic research for all this?
My research for you?
Yeah, for all the job dislocations.
Well, it comes from the labor groups. We represent Sheet Metal Workers 105, IBW Local 11, the UA Local 78 Plumbers. All of those industries have workers that work in this industry. So any kind of setback will effectively shut them down.
Okay, what I'm trying to ask is that information public?
Is it public?
Yeah.
Sure it can. I mean, I'm sure it can be made public if it's not. I mean, it's who works, the employees of the companies. So we can email you that if I can get my hands on it.
And can you say, sorry, Jordan, what was your organization?
Creed LA. So I can email you that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
How many employees are we talking about?
That I don't have a hard number on because it depends what the if the city does a 2,500-foot setback, or if they want to do 2,000 feet, 1,500 feet, it's a very arbitrary number. So you can study who works directly in the site, but that worker, there's trucks that go in and deliver supplies, from the cargo to San Pedro. Do you want to just focus it there, or do you want to emphasize it even more? We don't know for sure, and that's also what the city is doing with that study. That's why we're supporting the study and want to wait for them to finish it.
So you had a number?
Yes, but you were first there.
I just have a question. So you mentioned some unions, like iron workers, sheet workers. So are you telling me that if the sheet worker person that works at that site gets laid off because they can't work there, the sheet workers union doesn't have a job for that person anywhere else?
Well, I mean, that depends on them, but I wouldn't be so comfortable saying, don't worry about your job, we'll just shift you somewhere else. People have different skills.
No, I'm very familiar with the sheet workers union and how many thousands of people they employ. I'm asking, are you familiar with them? Because if I work on one project and that project finishes, that sheet workers, I can finish building this building, they don't say, well, sorry, we don't have any more work people, we never hired you. They hire you for a different project. So are you trying to insinuate that people are not going to have a job because they don't have that project to work on?
Well, they would lose that specific job, and I know that based on how much construction is going on in the city, which right now is high, but it does go in cycles. You don't want to
have another place to work because we have a lot of construction going on.
Right, but you don't want to hire so many people to build so many buildings, and then construction slows down, and then where is people going to work? I mean, that would be something more for that local than for myself. So, yes.
If the workers are working within the 2,500 square feet zone, 2,500 feet zone, wouldn't they also suffer the health effects of being close to a drilling site? And how would you propose to protect them.
Well, that's what the city is studying for. We're not saying that there isn't any health impacts. We take issue with the fact that Stan DeLay is saying we know what the impacts are and we know what the solution is. When the city is doing a study to study just exactly that. There might be a better solution that protects the workers and that's not involved in losing their jobs. This is what their solution is, will cause them to lose their jobs, but the city might find a better alternative. We don't know yet. We don't know that until they finish the study.
So if the workers are protected, there's no guarantee that the people living near those sites are protected.
Well, again, that's also part of the study, and we shouldn't make a decision on the study that's still being conducted.
We need to move to the end of this agenda.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
I just want to know if when you refer to them losing their jobs, you mean that specific project being closed down?
Yeah, well, effectively a setback would close everything down, so effectively they would be losing those jobs. Yeah.
So those wouldn't be the workers building, they would be the workers who are running it now.
I mean, it would affect a number of workers, and again, that's kind of what the study is studying. So initially, this motion was specifically just for health impacts that the health committee approved, but later it went to the economic development committee, and they said, no, we need to also study the economic impacts of it.
I wonder if they're also studying the economic impacts of the wells running dry, because that's going to happen at some point.
Sure.
So those workers will be losing their jobs.
Yes.
Anyway.
And
Eventually, possibly.
are they studying the economic impact of the illnesses on the people around?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Is the study also considering the economic impact of the people who are sick and dying? who live
Sure,
inside?
sure. Well, I'm assuming that.
Not sure, are they or are they not?
Well, I'm assuming that they are, and if the study does not address that, then we will bring it up, because that's part of how it started. People were reporting side effects of it. So you need to find out if the side effects came from the chemicals, which chemical was it, and how do you minimize that and protect the workers without having them to lose their jobs, without just shutting it down.
You need to wrap this
I'm
up.
not
Talking about the workers, I'm talking about the residents who live
We
around.
haven't even done anything.
Sure.
We didn't get that far. I just want to let,
Thank you.
Lia's been sitting over their hand up.
Just to wrap up, I think we can find out how many people are off these sites, the people who live next to these sites, and see how many people are off these sites. Individuals like Monique will live next to, on the gas facility every day. Young people, elderly, have more vulnerable immune systems, will be living next to these wells, even longer times than those people who are leaving the house for work. Yet people who are working at these wells will go for a little bit of time and then leave. And maybe they're gone for days, weeks at a time.
And I just live 30 feet from Alenco oil sites, and I only saw 2 people working right there. And one of them gave us a tour underground, and he told my daughter and I that he needs to open valves every 10-15 minutes to release a pressure to prevent an explosion. And we are sitting on a bomb. After 4 years Alenco is closed, they are not able to reopen because they have so many violations. And I'm sure Alenco was not the only one with this serious violation on the city. We need to do something about it. It's time to asking our government to switch to renewable energy and retrain people to doing clean job.
Thank you. So Becky, did you
I
have?
just was going to say that it seems like we actually have to read the motion and the other community impact statements, so maybe we can, and also this isn't scheduled for vote, so, and it looks like there's time, so perhaps we can do that and then vote on it at the March meeting, and as well as get a timeline on when the city report is going to be released. That's what I would suggest.
Okay, is there any further thoughts or discussion from the council?
Is somebody going to write the draft?
Well, I think
we
that
need to do research.
I think we're saying we need to.
We don't have enough
Somebody take,
information.
I know, but is somebody taking it on?
Just put it on the agenda for next time.
Yeah, we can be on the agenda for March, and in that time, everybody should go to the city council file and read the motion and read all the statements, and also perhaps the group can give us an update on when the report is going to be ready, so that we can have some sense of the urgency.
It'd be nice if somebody took it on.
I have one quick question. How many oil
sites are located within Eagle Rock, within the area that we're voting on?
A great place to look for that is on the Dogger Well Finder site. Dogger is the Division of Oil and Gas and Geothermal Resources. So it's DOGGR Well Finder. And that's a state organization, so you can see, it's a regulatory board, so you can see the sites easily.
All right, thank you. Can check whether active or not active on the webpage.
All right,
Thank you.
is there any objection from the council to tabling this until next month?
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. We have some neighborhood purpose grants to look at. Eagle Rock Elementary Educational Foundation, Erie.
Right here. Hi. Michelle couldn't be here tonight, but I'm standing in for her. So I think she presented everything to you guys via email. Basically, we're asking for money to help us provide a privacy wall for our kinder yard specifically. Right now, it's open chain link fencing. We tried some funky records that kind of ended up warping and aging and not looking so great. And we've done a lot of research and found some great ways to provide privacy with planter boxes and create growth along the walls, which will also beautify the neighborhood, as well as inspirational outdoor banners that we want to have along that corner as well on Maywood and Chickasaw. So that's basically where we're at.
So it's just for that one section right in front of the...
For now, yeah, that's where our focus. Yeah, we have some other hope for the entire yard, but the kinder yard, we feel like really needs some love, and that corner specifically of the neighborhood could also use some love, and it would also kind of expand the play areas, and it would expand outdoor classroom opportunities. We'd love to have some outdoor reading areas. That there's just so much opportunity along the side that right now, with the way it's open to the public, it's just not really accessible for the kids to be playing in. So, yeah.
I had some questions about the specific expenses for, as between decorative fencing, banners, chalkboards and paintboards, and the succulent garden. Like, how much do each of those things cost?
I think we sent a breakdown.
So the itemized budget is in the folder?
Yeah, you put that.
If you want succulents, you can come to my garden.
I will. We would love that.
I'm getting rid of my
Great.
succulents.
Yeah.
I think it just linked to the...
Don't
You see the budget, the fencing budget?
I wrote down your names.
Fencing budget. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, that's the general, it's pretty simple, laid out. Yeah, and any additional questions, you can also email Michelle, and she can get back to you tomorrow.
Are there any other?
So the money goes to the PTA, is that the...
No, it goes to Erie, which is their fundraising arm. They have a
foundation.
I have a question. So, excuse me, I have a question. So this is mainly for the kindergarten area?
Right now it's for the kinder yard, but we have a big plan that we kind of would like to implement over the entire yard. So this would kind of be like a test run to make sure the planters that we choose and the greenery is the right greenery, which we've done a lot of research and will continue to, and now that I can talk to Chloe as well, making sure we choose the right plants, and then we'd like to extend that further along all of Maywood.
Great, sounds
With
good.
another funding project, so.
Did you just have a major landscaping?
We did the interior, we had a major interior change. That was great.
How else do you plan to meet the funding gap?
Right now, we budgeted very specifically just for this project. But we also have a grant committee that are constantly researching and looking for new grants that we could use to gather more funds to beautify the school, and also things like science laboratories and things like that. We're a really active school and really just fighting for our kids and what's best for our children and also the community. So, wonderful.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve $1,500 for decorative fencing and privacy on the chain link fence around the school for Eagle Rock Elementary Education Foundation.
I second that.
Is there any further questions or discussion from the board?
No.
No. All in favor? Aye.
This is a yes.
Any opposed?
Thank you so much.
Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Michelle knows this, but we do need, before we can submit this, we do need a slight update to the application. But she and I already spoke about this, so
Okay. I'll have her follow up.
if she can just get that to us as soon as
Yes.
possible so we can get it in, that would be great. Next one is Solheim. John, Kathy, take it away.
Kathy, go first, I'll go second, okay?
I'm gonna go first, I'll follow your remarks. Go ahead.
All right, so every year, last year I had the honor of representing the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council at the Easter egg hunt. Here is the Easter egg hunt. You can see a young lady holding one of our ERNC frisbees, which I gave out generously to all who attended. This is the premier event after the Justin Timberlake halftime show. This is the premier event in Eagle Rock. Here is the bunny. Easter egg bunny, and again, many people and many Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council people are there in attendance, and we intend to invite more. So I highly support this because it's in my sub-district, and it's a great thing. And also, it's for the aging, the people that live in Solheim. They're older people, and they love to have young people come in and spend a day with them. And so it's a great thing to see the smiles on their face. You know? I mean, the kids are going to get candy no matter what, right? It's you know. Easter, they're out there, but it's for the actually for the older people that live there, and it makes them feel part of our community, which they are. Right? There you go. There I am. Oh yeah, there I am. Passing out the swag, which was so give it to her. Okay, there you go. Okay, thank you. And now, Kathy.
Well, as we were trying, Solheim is a continuing care facility, so we do all 4 levels of care. What's been extraordinary is that I've been in the community for 93 years, but we're trying to think of ways, a lot of people know about it in the area, but what would keep it engaged with the younger generation, I mean with children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. So we decided to do an egg hunt at Solheim. What was really fun is that my residents, they stuffed 1,000 eggs. Now this year we're looking to do 1,440 eggs, but it'll take them a month to do this, and we set aside an activity period that they actually sit. They so enjoy, I mean, they actually try to keep that plastic egg together, not overstuff it with the wrapper, with the candies. But then we've got a plan to that, the week before the event, they're going to stuff goodie bags, which that's the part taking home that, I don't know if you've ever taken a child to an egg hunt, they got to have something to take home too. And we've got a craft, the goodie bag will have some of the plastic eggs, little toys and things, so we definitely want it mom and dad friendly, so that they'll know, and we'll encourage mom and dad to look at the bag before your child actually, opens it up. But it's such a neat thing for the kids. Last year we did have crayons and some little coloring pad in there or something. But I don't know if you've ever seen we did it down I had toddlers that could walk the grass up to 6th grade. We had between, I'd say, 250 and 300 people on the grass there. For us, that was a lot. The police department were there offering families if they wanted information for their children to do fingerprinting. We had, you guys would know this when you go to a street fair, the people that do the henna painting and face painting, she was there. We did storytelling time. The kids loved the corner that had all the little finger foods that they could eat. I didn't want them to have too much of a sugar high, but it was just enough. But then the parents, which is the cool part for our parents, is we had a group, maybe Peter, Paul, Mary, there was kind of an acoustic crowd.
Very good. Yeah.
Really, they perform at some of the other street fairs. This is a compliment, and it made me feel so good, that the parents were sitting around on the grass after the egg hunt. And these are parents all over from our community, and their kids were just running 360s. They were just really having a good moment. But I said, are you okay with what and they go, we feel so safe here. And that was a compliment to how I felt that we could provide for families and their children. It's free to them. There's a lot of people that struggle with money around that holiday, that we could just throw a fun event. We do take pictures with this. We're buying a brand new bunny costume this year that Solheim will provide.
but it's totally fun. Now, the part that I enjoy is working with our residents. Say that you guys are all seniors here in wheelchairs, you are watching this activity unfold, and that's the coolest part, is that it's just a whole family experience. And like we said, we see seniors that don't feel like they're forgotten. You know, that's really important. And when they've been a part of something, and I actually hid some of the eggs, and the kids didn't know it, on the seniors' lap that were sitting in the wheelchairs. So that was kind of, then they had to come in a little dialogue. But no regrets, whether or not this gets approved or not, we will do this as a gift to the community because we believe so strongly in what it meant. And John was fabulous there with the table for the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council. We'll have the fire department come by, and it's just kind of a good expression of support to the community and what we can do. This is all about family. I mean, Lisa's been over there seeing what we're doing, and it's, nobody wants to be forgotten, especially at the holiday season. So if we can do something to bring our community, and this is what John's embraced with us about intergenerational, it's a cool event. The money's partly crap, but it's more for the collateral going home and the goodie bags that would go home, the kids would take home from them. We're estimating between 150 and 200 bags for the children. Stickers, all sorts of stuff.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board for Kathy or John?
I guess my only question is, last year was off the solheim.
Yes.
Is this the only elder home that we own?
As of right now, yes. We didn't do anything last year. We did not give them anything last
We
year.
didn't give them any
No, we
money?
didn't.
We couldn't quite figure out how to do it in the time we had.
Yeah, we couldn't get it back together in time. But now we're ready to go.
Okay. But how many community centers are there? How many elder homes are there?
I'm not sure. This is one
I
of
mean,
those
I would
things-
say that as with the schools, like, we do outreach to a lot of places and eventually, ultimately.
Well, this is what I'm asking,
Yeah.
because this is the first time we've actually, I mean, we may have done it, I don't remember.
And the Solheim is right over there by a lot
I
of different
understand what
apartments and a lot
Solheim
of
is, and it
kids.
sounds like a fabulous thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not,
They're doing a
I'm
nice
totally
job
not
of it.
against giving them money at all, but I was just curious about, because last year it seemed like we were also asked about Solheim, this year we're doing Solheim, right? It's kind of like the schools, we try to
Well, just
even it
wait
out.
till we get to the bylaws changes, and we can talk through, who might do that stuff for more of these places for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally for it, I think it's a great thing. I just it just seemed like we were focusing on Solheim.
Well, we didn't do anything
Well, we
last
didn't
year.
do anything last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came to us, and that's ultimately what we respond to is people who come to
Are
us.
there any, I don't know enough about Solheim. Is Solheim, is it affiliated with the church? Is Solheim affiliated with the church?
Solheim is,
Kathy, can you stand up?
Sorry about that. It was started by the Lutheran Church as far as when it was first, it's not a church entity, what we're doing. Solheim is a continuing care facility, it's separate from the church denomination, it's a continuing care facility.
No, I'm just concerned about the money.
And it's just, like I said, it's generic, it's like an egg hunt, you go in a
Yeah.
park or something.
Sure.
I just have a question about it being an Easter hunt instead of like a spring festival, just because not everybody celebrates Easter in terms of having
Right. It's more like focused around an egg hunt for kids, and the kids like doing that, the henna lady, the face painting lady, and that kind of thing.
No, I understand there's an egg hunt, and that's great, but it could also be like a spring festival so that people who don't celebrate Easter could also feel that it's open to all denominations and people who don't have a religion.
Absolutely.
That was my only question.
I think people that come for Saturday, we were fortunate to have nice weather last year, and just to come and enjoy family and being together, and like I said, we're able to provide the bathroom facilities and things that are important for something like that, and just a safe setting.
How do people know about it? You put out advertising and say, come, here's a free event? How do people find out?
Well, what we did, last year, we did it through electronic, we did it through Solheim, we kind of promoted, because Solheim was carrying the whole entire, we did it through our donor base and through families and friends and word of mouth. Then John took it from there.
What I did is I went to the neighborhood and I went to homes that I knew there were children and people, and then I also went to, I didn't want to just include the people north of Colorado, Florida, that I wanted to include a different database, and I went to the apartment buildings and went there and invited them also. So a different demographic than,
Get the word out.
Right, so, and this year, I intend to invite many more people.
I'm fine with it, and I will just say that, I'm not Jewish or whatever, but, I mean, if the council is supporting things like Easter, it's secularized, I agree, but it's Easter. I mean, that is, people can say it's politically correct, it's actually the Constitution, it's the First Amendment. And this is government money that we're spending, so I think it's fine if it's a spring festival. I can understand people disagreeing about it, but I think Becky raises a good point, and we have to be careful, because I don't know that we're sponsoring, Hanukkah festivals. I don't know that we're sponsoring, holy festivals for Hindus. So it's just something to keep in mind. But I think it's fine. It sounds like a spring festival, and I'm fine supporting it. But I think it's something that I don't think we think about when we support it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would feel more comfortable if it were sort of marketed as a spring festival, for the reasons that both Becky and Ron have alluded to. Because it really, we cannot promote a religious holiday, and even though it doesn't specifically say Easter, the trappings of Easter are there. Now, they're the secular trappings of Easter, but there are plenty of Christians who would consider that to be the trappings of Easter, and certainly non-Christians too. So I just think if you can sort of market it as a spring festival and try to secularize it as much as possible, I think that would be, I would feel more comfortable voting for it.
At least when our logo's on it.
I'm sorry?
At least when our logo's on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with sponsorships.
Yeah.
I mean, these are taxpayers' dollars that we're using here.
Yeah.
Is this something that you're comfortable with, Kathy?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Are you comfortable with marketing it slightly differently?
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, in regards to that, I mean, just to go on the same vein, doesn't Jose Huizar schedule the Christmas tree lighting ceremony? Christmas tree lighting ceremony?
And there's a whole set of Supreme Court cases.
I don't really see a difference. To be honest with you, it's Christmas. What does Christmas mean? Is that Hanukkah or is that
It's a whole other
Christmas?
discussion
The birth
about,
of Christ.
It's
No, John, that's a whole other discussion.
No, so I
it's
think
like a whole
I think it's sort of not really there, to be honest with you.
Well, a lot of people feel differently though, so I think rather than having like a big discussion about what's religious and what's not, I mean,
Well, I mean,
I
I
think
just,
there's a point to be made that there is a connection, so we're just.
yeah, I know, I'm just bringing it up because it just struck me as, interesting.
As it's currently written on the agenda, I see spring event.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, is that not what we're voting?
No, that is,
Oh, okay.
that is what we're voting on.
Okay.
yeah.
For the agenda.
But the NPG has Easter
Oh,
and Easter in it.
okay, got you. Okay, so then is it a matter of just having the NPG revised to reflect the language that we have in the agenda?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Oh,
please?
was it a matter of just revising the language of the NPG to have what's on the agenda, so then the two things are in sync?
I don't know if we need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just the spring festival, yeah.
Okay.
Someone want to make a motion?
I second the motion.
No, there is
No, we
no
didn't
motion.
make
Can you
a
make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we grant them the $500 for the spring event.
I second. Is there any further discussion from the board? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
Josie, how did you vote? I didn't.
Yes.
Francis did. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, you were easy.
All right, here's my agenda. There it is. All right. Motion passes. Eagle Rock High School. Hi.
We'll move off to the side. There's kind of a lot of us.
Can I see first? We can if you want.
The robot will do that.
You didn't bring a robot?
Sadly, the robot is actually still currently being built as we are in our 5th week of build season. So first off, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Adriana Aldana, Senior Captain of Eagle Rock High School's Robotics Team 6658.
Hi, I'm Serena Strickland. I'm also a member of our Robotics Team 6658 for the 2nd year.
I'm Lucian, almost 9, in the admin team for my 1st year of robotics.
She's in 7th grade.
My name is Elise Rader. I'm junior captain and mechanical lead for the team.
So So I'd like to first off start by telling you what is FRC. FRC stands for First Robotics Competition, and it's essentially a robotics competition that supports gracious professionalism as well as strong competition, or in their words, cooperation, where we cooperate within ourselves because we are a community. We are a STEM community, and we are competing against each other. So what we compete for is to be basically a top-ranked robot, and to be able to do that, obviously, you have to have an elaborate robot. But what we're actually asking for is support from our local community in terms of not only creating a greater network for us, but also financial support. So just a little backstory. Last season, we were our rookie team, meaning it was our first year competing, and we were given the Rookie All-Star Award. To be able to be given this robot is, you can place last and still get granted this award. But this award is essentially a gateway ticket to the Houston National Championships. We competed against teams internationally, across the world, from Israel, China, Turkey. All these teams traveled to Houston, Texas to compete, and we essentially had a regional competition, but at an international level. And what they want to do is, what that award entails is, how well are you expressing the word of STEM? How are you teaching it, and how are you creating a better environment for that topic? As we know in the future, most jobs will be STEM-based, or at least STEM-related. So we want to start creating a foundation now. And in our school, many of us on the team are actually intertwined with all the other STEM curriculums. For example, Serena and I are actually a part of the engineering program at school. I am a fourth-year student, Serena's second year, and Elise is actually on board of MESA. So we actually all dabble in a little something for STEM at school. But what we want to work on is try to create a better foundation for the future, and to create an even stronger community within Eagle Rock, because we know the importance of STEM, and we know how important it is to actually create something that can thrive in the future. Because how I see it, STEM is our future. The field of science, technology, engineering, and math, once put together with other liberal arts studies, will be able to create a better world where our president may be a little, where people think and create and are inquisitive on their own ideas. So yeah, and Elise will be closing.
All right, so this funding supports
our... My apologies, but I just spacing out, realizing that the two of us have to recuse ourselves because our children are at the school. Not involved with the team.
I was like, huh? We're not building right now.
So this funding supports materials for our pit, which is pretty much like our home base during competition, where we work on the robot, make any changes needed, and interact with other teams. And so this is a big thing. So we have a 10-foot by 10-foot by 10-foot cube area. And so this, we need money for workbenches, shelving, carts, and other materials to be able to put this together.
Yeah, funny backstory to that is our setup for last season was, so are you guys familiar with those foldable tables and with like a foam top-ish? Yeah, we popped off the top foam and we had a table frame. That's what we worked on the robot on. And then we had just foldable tables all around us, which should have been better. It's not as safe because now that I think of it, we had drills and hammers on one side and snacks on the other. And I don't think we want water near our metal. So that's how your support would also help us. It would help create a safer environment for us, because this is a 10-foot by 10-foot space. So I'm talking about this far, probably by my sir right here with the hat, and as tall as the roof. But imagine we have a 3-foot cube robot, and then our workbench, and 5 human bodies around it.
Yeah, working with power tools and other electrical technologies.
So yeah, we have to, this season we are trying to ensure a safe environment for us, as well as a more professional environment. So that's also,
And on top of that, there are opportunities for awards within the competition that involve the pit and safety levels that like we can earn from that. And being a second year team, we really want to try to move forward and like grow and catch up because we are team number 6658, which means we are the 6,658th team to register. While at the competition, the regional level, like about 4 slots down, there's team number 4, the 4th team to register.
so yeah, as well as your support is actually helping us create an even better push and strive to create a better STEM community because as you can see, there are 4 women standing in front of you. Push for the women in STEM movement. Last season, we had a team of, so we are veterans, meaning we've had a season prior, and we had a team of, I want to say 12, and only 3, no, we had a team of 15, and only 5 of those were girls.
Okay.
So now we're pushing a team of almost 40, yeah, we have 40 rostered to go to competition, so we've actually almost tripled in size, as well as, out of that 40, almost 12 to 15 of us are women. So we're making strong strides in that field, and we're.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
You're probably gonna get your money.
In the interest of time, we do have, there is an action for this MPG to approve $440 for materials for the robotics club. Is there any discussion or questions from the board?
Yeah, your projected expenses are like $12 more than the $440 being requested. I don't know why, but I mean, we don't have to do what's on the MPG, we can do a little bit more. Yeah?
We can give them 450.
I mean, can we do, or whatever, 500 or whatever, just like some of those projected expenses as well?
No, you can't, it has to be what you said.
Up to, it says up to 440.
Okay.
So,
We'll do a Kickstarter.
I'm sorry. I've been at this since the beginning.
One question, so how come there are no guys here? What are the guys?
So basically, my coach goes, can anyone come to the Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council meeting? And only us women.
Okay, all
Sorry to be blunt,
are there any other questions or discussion?
I just, is there any way we can see the robot at some point?
I have a picture of the robot from last year.
Oh, no, I just think it's really cool. I think it sounds cool. And on a side note, some future point, yeah, you guys can try to.
Yeah, maybe you can bring it.
Incentive, your guys' logo on our shirts.
Well, I'm pretty solid.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the $440 for materials for the robotics club.
I'll second. Okay.
Who seconded?
Natalie.
All in favor?
All of us, Francis. Yeah, unanimous.
Anyone opposed?
Really?
And any abstentions?
But do know.
And the motion passes.
Just make sure you know how to control the robots if they get out of control, okay? If they start to take control. I got it, pretty cool.
Oh, no. Carmel actually brought up something that I did not bring up to you guys. We actually are in really close connection with the Franklin robotics team, so we're working side by side there. And actually, in some cases, we're just like, hey, we're in a really bad position. I don't know what to do with the robot. Can you help me out? And they welcome us with open arms.
Thank you. Awesome, thank you.
And I love it because my son puts up all the stuff in some of these places. He gets to see these kids doing the work. He puts up the big events when they do. They're huge, these events when they get together.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to jump because David let me know that he has to leave, so if we could jump to bylaws and land use, and then we'll come back. You want to do land use first, okay?
All right, so we'll do this super fast. We have land use and planning committee meeting every month, the third Tuesday usually. The next one is the 20th of February.
Please speak up.
At the last, I'm doing my best. At the last, here I'll stand up. At the last land use meeting, we just had one case. Actually, before I do that, if people care about the land use stuff, we sent the letter out about the Ernie Jr. Historic West thing yesterday. The hearing downtown before the zoning administrator is tomorrow. Check your Facebook feed for more information. We had one case last month at land use. It was conditional use permit renewal for 5 Line over there. I'm going to let you guys talk. I'm just going to inform these guys. So long story short, you have to renew your conditional use permit every certain number of years. Currently, there's a conditional use permit over there that doesn't quite reflect what's happening there. And these guys are going to tell you all about what the new application is for, whether they've turned the application in, and what has to be done before the application gets approved. So the recommendation from land use was basically they recommend approval of the conditional use permit if the application is actually turned in and if all the building and safety things have been cleared up over there. So why don't you guys tell us what your project is and what your timeline is like.
My name is Ahmed Shamazarian. I'm representing 5 Line.
Do you mind standing up?
Sure. No problem. Again, my name is Ahmed Shamazarian. I'm representing 5 Line. Well, we submitted an application for renewal of our liquor license, and in conjunction with that, through the research or through the visits of the site, they found out that the second story, the upper level portion of it was not legal for use as a, usually it was used basically for gatherings and private parties. So it brought to our attention to legalize that portion. So through the research, we found out that it was used to be as an office and a storage space, and it was converted to a gathering space. So we have conducted, I contacted the city and found the records that it was legal use, but not being used as for a restaurant. So in conjunction with that, we're in the process of submitting plans to the health department to get their approval first, and then submit it to the building department. Meanwhile, through this process, we submit the application because the application to the CUP takes 3-4 months for the hearing. And before submittal, we need your support in order for the city zoning administrator to approve this thing. So basically, that's the project. It roughly seats about 50 people upstairs, 48 people, and that's basically the project. So if you have any questions or anything else, I can.
What is the name again?
It's
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just to wrap up. So right now you've got 5 Line over there, it's got a bar, and it's got the other bar, little bar in back. And right now you have conditional use permit for the bar itself with the 9 o'clock closing hour. So you're reapplying and you're saying that you're going to close at midnight, and it includes the regular bar and a little bar and a restaurant that's going to be upstairs on the mezzanine. So it's going to be a liquor license, like conditional use permit, not a liquor license that covers the whole thing. What time do you close right now? Like tonight, what time is it going to close?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. How about on Saturday night?
Saturday.
Well, Saturday night, we extended, until about 11.
I've been there at 1 a.m. So my question is, why ask for midnight? Why not just ask for 2 a.m.? Why not just, why are you asking for midnight? Why are you reducing the hours?
Well, first of all, there's some economy involved there, keeping everybody until 2 o'clock in the morning, we're talking about a major cost. We have to keep the chef, we have to keep the cook, we have to keep the waiters and waiters.
So I'm just saying, why not ask just in case? Because I don't think there'd be any controversy midnight versus, because I think the place is across the street. I'm just asking, I'm just inquiring.
He's saying you don't have to stay open until 2 a.m.
You don't have to stay open, so why aren't you asking?
Well, because
I'm not telling you you should, I'm just
it's
asking.
more like a convenience, until 12 o'clock, because normally, after 12 o'clock, it's more, I don't know, I personally, if I want to go out and stay until about 2 o'clock, I would like to go somewhere that there is a music, there is a dancing, there is that kind of stuff, But, that place is mostly restaurant and drinking,
There's no difference between asking for midnight and 2 o'clock in terms of.
But there might be in terms of.
Is there a difference? Does it cost more to ask for 2 o'clock or?
Well, there is absolutely, you have to keep the staffing there.
No, not when you have to keep it open, just the permission.
Well, that's what
Since this is a
permission is concerned.
Yeah, why not ask for 2 o'clock permission, just in case it's Sunday, you get loud.
Well, okay, then, let's keep it until 2 o'clock. If you guys are happy with that.
We're not encouraging later closing.
We're not encouraging it.
No, Suzanne?
Well, I have 4 o'clock in the morning for breakfast.
Why would you say 24 hours?
Suzanne, we're not encouraging later closing. You can just comment
I just want people to know what's happening over there. So you're basically legalizing the whole place, which is great, and there's going to be like another restaurant or something, or another use upstairs when that is legal. So what the land use committee was saying is, yes, we recommend approval of the conditional use permit, but only after all the safety and everything's legal over there, which seems sort of common sense.
They're saying, Suzanne, that they want to close it at midnight, which is fine, but Dave was saying, why don't you just ask for 2 o'clock?
No, that's not exactly what I was saying. I was just asking why they weren't, not why don't you.
Okay, why they weren't?
It's just a question rather than a suggestion. No, there's no implication. There's no implication. Sure. I'm telling you there's no implication, so.
I make a motion to accept the land use committee's recommendation.
I second it.
Is there any further questions?
Susanna's signing.
Do you have something to say?
No, I mean, I just want a time that is observed, because I've been there after midnight as well, so I would like, whatever the time is.
You have something to say.
Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, I know, the line between having something to say and non-existent.
May I just say, as a person who might come across over the mountain from Highland Park just to hang out, and somebody said, oh, have another beer, and I love beer. And have another beer, and I'm sitting there having a beer, and somebody says, oh, it's midnight, I have to go home. And this person says, oh, no, it's okay, we can just hang out. I don't want to hear that. Okay, that's my point. If you happen to have people who are hanging out over the time, this is what they're asking you. If you can get a permit to 2 o'clock, put the permit there, so God forbid she and her and them and those all stay because they're having too good a time.
Okay, thank you. So we have a second, right?
Yeah, we do. I second it, yeah.
Is there any further discussion or questions? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Lisa, I was just wondering, can she cannot drink alcohol?
It's not to do with money, she only.
No, but it has to do with alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not one. I didn't want to come back and bite us.
Hey, Francis Johnson is abstaining.
Thank you, okay. Thank you.
All right, motion passes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now bylaws. I hope that you all have had a really fun time looking over the changes to the bylaws. The big suggestions that we came up with, this is mostly a refresh and a cleanup to reflect the changes that we recently voted to the treasurer position. So there's like numbers changes throughout, also changing the title of faith-based director to social justice director and the attached definition of that. Also, because we want to go back to 19, because basically when we took treasurer away, that would have taken us down to 18. We basically replaced a treasurer position with, the suggestion is an elder director. We have a youth director representing the youth of the community. The suggestion was made to make an elder director, somebody who could liaise with some of the, like Solheim and some of the other communities within the area and do some of the aging in place work that John has been doing. Somebody had interest in that area and involving those communities more with the neighborhood. And the rest of it is largely cleanup. The other sort of large change, other than sort of cleaning up some of the definitions of the positions on the board and just language throughout, had to do with the grievance procedure, because when we went through a grievance process last year, we found that our stuff in the bylaws about grievances was old and didn't have anything to do with how the city wanted us to do it. So now it basically all disappeared except to say, please refer to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment grievance procedures.
because they also change them regularly. So we should just refer anybody who has a grievance to the city so that the city can tell them how they want it done. And that is what our bylaws say. Those are the big changes. David, do you have anything to add? Sylvia, anybody, or Jane?
No, I mean, I'll just say what I say whenever we do the bylaws, is the having specific seats. A lot of neighborhood councils have just at-large seats, but having specific seats on the board seems to have worked well in many ways, but also during elections, because people will see something that they're really jazzed about and then they will run for the seat. And that helps us. That helps us have a diverse board and a diverse array of candidates, which makes this board stronger and has made this board stronger. So we can do this every election cycle. If we are tired of a seat, if we get bored of, I'm going to, I don't, because everyone's here. So I'm not going to choose one saying that we get bored of it, but if it doesn't seem like it's working out, you can always change it. You can add it. So I really love the idea of having these 2 seats on board, and I think it will attract some interesting people.
Suzanne?
I'm not seeing a definition of social justice director here.
What happened was the original link, if you just refresh the link, I changed it out during the meeting to one where you can see it's a Microsoft Word document, and you can see all the changes.
Is that designed so that we'll end up as a Breitbart news item?
Well, I could go on about the origin of the term social justice.
No, I haven't.
You and I can talk about it.
I didn't see this
I
until
can
just
read it
now
if you'd
because
like.
I can't see. I don't even know where we're looking.
Yeah. Suzanne.
Well, I know.
Suzanne, would you like
I can't
us to
find
read
it on my, I don't seem to have access to it.
Would you like us to read it?
Yeah, that would be great.
Social Justice Director is responsible for promoting fair and just relations between Eagle Rock's diverse stakeholders in the wider community of Los Angeles, with special focus on homelessness, fair housing, immigration, and wage and labor issues. Should create and chair ad hoc committees on issues like housing and homelessness, and ensure that ERNC agendas and discussion are equitable and relevant to all stakeholder groups, especially those that have been underrepresented in the past.
Great. Thank you.
Are there any further? Yes.
So just to clarify, moving forward, when we're voting on for the sub-districts, we're going back to what we had?
The sub-districts aren't really changing. Just the specialty directors, because before, as you recall, treasurer was an elected position specifically, and we made it an appointed position. So we, created a new position, which is the elder, and then just changed the faith-based director, really largely in response to people's feelings, much like Becky and Ron were talking before, that it seemed out of place somewhat, and that we could roll in some of the things that we do around that into another name and make it feel less religious-based, but still wanting to include those groups in a functional way. So that's where that came from.
Yeah, I had just that because I thought I saw, maybe I didn't read it correctly, about who can run in the sub-districts and stakeholders who live in that sub-district, like let's say sub-district 1, you have to, is it right? Or maybe.
Yeah, nothing's changed with the sub-districts.
That's how it was last year.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So, I mean, sub-districts, when you run in the elections with the city holds, you have to live in the sub-district, but just like tonight, if you're filling an empty slot, anybody can run for it. Because that is also a change we made that seems to work out well.
Yeah, do you have another question, Chloe? Are there any further questions?
Jane.
I just have a question.
Oh, yes.
I presented the idea about the Renters' Rights Committee, and I'm assuming it's going to fall under the social justice category. But I wanted to know if we could add the word renter in there instead of just simply housing.
The word?
Renter instead of just housing, because the focus was really about the fact that renters make up 65% of the population of Los Angeles and are not represented consistently throughout the neighborhood council system. So that was part of my proposal, and I was just wondering if that's something that could be added.
Is fair housing include renters in?
I think that was the
Yeah,
intention.
Also, it says that part of the definition is that they could create ad hoc committees, and so that's something that the social justice director could consider rather than having that in the bylaws.
I think we didn't want to make it a standing committee, we wanted to make it something that we.
Right, no, I understand. I'm just saying, but using the word renter instead of emergency housing, because that's kind of.
Not sure how to put that
the way
into.
The way I think of it is, renters are a particular category, and they have,
They don't live in houses.
and they have agencies that are dedicated primarily for renters in Los Angeles, so that was the reason why I put those two.
Sorry, go ahead.
And there's some renters who don't have housing because they're evicted.
Well, I think that's why fair housing covers it, because then we have to.
Housing generally.
The original version of this had a lot of individual categories instead of the word diverse and instead of the word underrepresented groups. And that's always not the trap, but the feedback loop one gets into when one starts talking about social justice. So I think having a more expansive view that everyone understands and can also expand when we start talking about people who've been evicted who are no longer renters instead of listing them. But I think it's understood, yeah. But I'm just saying that we thought about it when we talked about it, just to kind of honor you showing up.
And we do, I mean, I do really appreciate all of your thoughts. Jane came to the bylaws committee meeting and shared a proposal on this new committee that we're hoping to move forward with at some point, and I do really appreciate the thought and energy that you have brought to that. So. Is there a motion?
I move to accept the change in bylaw.
I'll second. I haven't seconded anything to
Good job.
Yeah.
Is there any further questions or discussion on the bylaws changes?
Can we informally call the social justice director the social justice warrior? Just kidding, just kidding.
All right.
Just on that, right?
Yeah, just on that. We're voting on the whole bylaw. Yeah. But we didn't change that much. I mentioned most of the big stuff that we mentioned. Other than that, it was just, again, cleanup, going through and like proofing it and making sure that things were changed in all the right places.
If you didn't read it all and don't feel comfortable, stay. Yeah. Okay, you should have done your homework before you came to the meeting, because that's what we do as good board members.
All right. So we have a motion and it's seconded. And are there any more questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great.
I'm not getting the paddle for
You will get the paddle.
Just makes us move in
Dave loves the
All
paddle.
right. Terrific. So now we are going back to, yes, Rock Boulevard update. This will be short. Is Brian here?
Did David just leave?
Yeah, he's gone.
You hear him curse?
Just very quickly, this week was, Tara hosted at Center for the Arts Eagle Rock the first of several Rock the Boulevard. So the work that still hasn't happened yet on Colorado for Take Back the Boulevard is but it's about to happen, the money's there, it's moving forward. They're now moving to focus on what changes they can make to Eagle Rock Boulevard, and this was the first of several community meetings. It was very well attended. It was nice to see there were probably close to 100 people there over the course of the period that I was there. It was very well attended. People had a lot of thoughtful things to add, and it was gratefully very, everybody was very polite to each other. Simple is the right word, which I appreciated. Becky was there also. Do you have anything you want to add? But I did want to just mention that they are going forward. They are having another one of these on Tuesday, March 20th, from 7 to 9 at the Women's 20th Century Club on Hermosa, on the corner of Hermosa and Colorado. And I hope that if you were not able to make the first one, that you and you have thoughts about how we could make Eagle Rock Boulevard safer and more beautiful for our neighborhood and for our progeny.
What's the date and time?
It is
March
again,
20th at 7 o'clock at the Women's International.
Yes, and I have I wasn't able to make copies of this because it is not yet approved by the council office, but I have one copy with all of the information on it if you want to see it.
Can I just add something? I'm on the steering committee.
Oh, yes.
So the second meeting, which is March 20th, of the Women's Club, is going to be interactive. So that means you get to show up and you get to actually make comments or draw on maps and do stuff. And you'll have an assignment. So it's going to be really fun. It's not just people talking at you. You're going to get to actually do things.
Cool.
If you have a particular issue that you want to resolve on Eagle Rock Boulevard, I have several. You know, make your voices known, show up, and there'll be plenty of crayons and things to draw with and puzzles and stuff like that. So,
great. Thank you. All right.
Can we move one ahead and then come back? Because John's here.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah. Now we're jumping to F. John.
Hello, everybody. My name is John. I'm a local personal trainer. I'm running boot camps, fitness boot camps in Gasol Park and at Rio de Los Angeles. And I'm here to see if we could get a free program at Yosemite Rec Center on Tuesdays and Thursdays around 6 or 6:30, free for the community. And last month, I pretty much had to come with like a date and time and all that stuff. So I think I put March for 12 weeks. Let me see my phone, sorry. March.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So we're trying to get it going for March, kind of lead everybody towards the summer so they can look healthy, good, and all that good stuff. March 13th to May 31st at 6 or 6:30, depending on what Jennifer has scheduled at the park. And it'll be at the Sylvan Amphitheater, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And that's an initiative too, to kick out all the potheads or whatever. Yeah, it's just another initiative to just bring health and hope to the community and to start putting more emphasis on bringing health to the community.
This is the outreach thing for us. We'll create flyers, put our name all over it, and kind of like we did with the.
And so Jennifer hasn't confirmed the time yet?
No, we spoke, we've been speaking, we just haven't got this confirmed yet.
Okay.
So most likely evening, 6:30, depending on the lighting. But I think by March 13th to May 31st, there should be enough sunlight, because I'm not sure how well the lighting is back there. But yeah, Tuesday and Thursdays.
What is your target group for the strength endurance training?
Anybody who wants to be healthier, just anybody. I could, like say for instance, if there's people who have limitations, there'll be modifications. You could go at your own pace, it's nothing crazy. The most important thing is that you get up there, you move, you group, you have fun, and that you're being active. You don't have to go out not all crazy, but you know, just be active. You know, I wish that we could do more stuff like that in the community. And that's why I'm taking that initiative today. And well, actually for like since the summer, I think. Yeah, but yeah.
So people aren't pretzels. You sit too long, you become a pretzel.
Yeah.
Are there any further questions? Jesse?
How many again? I'm sorry,
It'll be free for the community. I don't want to put no cap on it. Since there's no cap, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need volunteers. I'm hoping that I could connect with some of the Eagle Rock high school kids who are in fitness programs, sports programs.
Oxy has a training program.
Oxy,
So
whoever
that's
wants.
why you just,
Yeah, like whoever would want to
Community
volunteer
engagement
to.
office at Oxy is very good for that.
Yeah, to create a team so that we could all just help out one another. And John. Yeah, I'll definitely use them.
So what is this called if I put it on my calendar, the first?
Strength, like, we could name it something cool. It doesn't have to be strength endurance training. It sounds like, it might not be for me.
Maybe we can work on Eagle Rock and like Eagle eats coyote.
All right, moving on.
I'll make a motion to approve $1,000 for the strength endurance training classes behind.
I second.
I'll second it if Pat and Matt are forced to join.
That's going to be the modifier. That's going to be the modifier.
But Chloe already seconded it, so she beat you to it.
So you're off the hook.
Are there any further questions or discussion from the board?
All the boards should be required to join.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
It's unanimous.
Great. Thank you, John. And John, as soon as you have the dates and times confirmed with Jennifer, can you get in touch with Matt or me and we can like make sure we get the word out?
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'd like to move that we go to Measure H since we have someone here to
Yes.
speak to.
Okay, so that's, which one is that letter?
Lumiston.
Oh, okay. H. Oh, sorry. Okay, yes.
H,
you're up.
Okay. Oh, I said we'd love to have you. Okay, I'm going to stand up because I go to fitness training twice a week. And I am standing on two knees. Okay, I'm Carmela Gomes. I have been with the Yummis Day Community Foundation since its inception in 2005, and I am the education director, but they send me out to do this work. Anyway, I write the NPGs, and we decided that Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council doesn't want to look at an NPG because it becomes very nasty, it can become difficult. So what I'm doing is showing you your ad that you had last year, which is a full page. And we have set up to $950 because that's the most expensive ads, but we know that we have all those expensive places taken. And you know what's missing on here on the front cover?
The ERNC logo?
Our ENC logo. And since I belong to the Eagle Rock Valley Historical Society, I can say I should be here, right? So anyway, I'm suggesting that you take the $950. You'll have your big, beautiful, isn't that a gorgeous ad? Everybody that saw it last year just loved this ad. It just took everybody's attention. And you'll have your logo here on all the posters, postcards, email stuff, Facebook pages, everything that we do for promotion will be. And the big ad that goes into the Boulevard Sentinel, there's two big ads that go, one for our benefit, April 7th, and one for all the events going on in June. So that would be there too. And it would be a continuation of the great thing that you all started with us back in 2005 when a band of crazy people decided we should have a celebration of community through a sense of place. And we did this in Sycamore Grove Park simply because it really is the most accessible and easy to get to by bus, train, and if you have to use your car. And it really brings us all together in a place where Los Angeles began. So I'm encouraging you to come back this year and join in on all the events that are coming up, the film night at Oxy and things going on at different places, but especially the festival with your wonderful Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council table.
So, I make a motion to approve $950 for the advertisements in the Yummis Day 2018 Festival magazine.
Second.
All right, are there any further questions for Camilla about this? Just to say that we have supported it for a long time.
And I just gave this lovely young lady one of the advertising things suggesting that she take the eighth of a page for nonprofit service organizations so that she can have a table because she has anybody can have one. Would you like one?
She needs to be on our
I love discourse. I love discourse.
Can you put your tables together, please?
That's the way you start discourse. That's what I used to do. I've been teaching since 1961. So I think that if you want to have discourse, you put people of varying ideas together. Like this room has been wonderful. Thank you.
Should we vote?
Yes, we have a seconded motion. Is there any more questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
And I hope you all get to come to something. And the benefit is April 7th, and I don't know if you know Amy Inouye, Chicken Boy's mom, down on Figueroa Street. She is our award winner this year, our Noisemaker Award, you know. As long as she's gonna have noises. So, thank you. Thank you. Now I'll towel off.
All right. So now we're going back to the community impact statements. Suzanne, your name is on this one.
I'm going to ask that we table this until next month.
Okay, tabling E.
Are you got the tables, please?
Sorry?
Are you keeping note of tables?
Yes. Now we're on G, and this is Becky.
So, just briefly, we had someone come to speak to the council about this in the fall. There was a lawmaker challenge where council member David Ryu partnered with a startup called Lawmaker to have people from the public come up with ideas about how to improve city government. And the idea that won his challenge was that the biggest way to increase community involvement and transparency would be to hold public meetings at times when the public's available to attend, such as times after 5 p.m. in the traditional workday for a lot of people that have daytime work schedules. So there's a motion in the city council right now, council file 18-0045. The motion is to just look into what the cost would be and other factors to consider. It's been referred to the Rules, Elections, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. And so my proposal would be for the council to write a community impact statement in support of at least the idea of exploring evening times for community meetings so that more people could attend and have a little bit more transparency, particularly on sensitive and popular topics related to some of these meetings.
We do it during the evening, they should do it during the evening.
Well, it wouldn't be all meetings, it would just be some meetings, but I think one of the things that could be said in the statement would be, you know, particularly on certain you know, housing issues, other hot topic issues involving land use and planning, these types of things where people do want to turn out, but they may not be able to because of traditional work schedules.
One thing, in her original proposal, she included weekends, but when it was submitted to the city council, they deleted that. And I actually think that weekends should be, perhaps not every issue, but certainly big issues like that, especially, you know, I just, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's something that at least
and
for
bringing them to the neighborhoods.
Yeah, at least for a community impact statement to raise that, because at this point they're just collecting public comment. This is you know, was only introduced January 16th of this year, so if we can comment early, that might also just be effective to make our voice heard.
Okay, are you up for?
Yeah, and I can do a draft to have for the board's review at the March meeting.
Okay, great.
We just table this till then, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That was
G.
G, yes. G, table.
We did H.
Yep, we did H,
We did I.
we did I. We J. No, we did J. There's not much to say here. Here's J. I had a couple of conversations with constituents about 1871 Colorado, which is the former 76 station on Colorado Boulevard, where there was all kinds of problems because there was water in people's gas. But this is not about that. This is about, they had permitted additional new construction. The permit very clearly says, per the Colorado specific plan, you can't be a mini mall. You can't turn it into a mini mall. And you can't add additional signs require additional permissions. And for those of you who are familiar with the property that I'm talking about, from the outside, it looks like a mini mall, and it functions like a mini mall. They say it's not a mini mall because it's attached on the inside.
Because what, sorry?
Because the two businesses are attached on the inside. They still haven't gotten back yet about the signage issue because I have emailed the city about this. I know Sean has been getting in touch with Building and Safety about it. So basically at this point, there's nothing to write a letter about yet. It's just a question of, this is my personal feeling, but like certain other members of the community got fined and got in all sorts of trouble for repainting an existing sign. And in other places, they do whatever they want and don't get called on anything. And so, there's never going to be a level playing field, but it just seems in this case, it's worth asking questions and following up, especially since I personally have gotten several people come and say, what the heck is the deal with that? It looks like a mini mall.
And also, I don't think it should be just for this specific business, this letter and whatnot, because there's the Porsche Sierra Madre collection opening up, which is a Porsche place, which according to the Colorado Boulevard specific plan, there's not supposed to be any automobile related businesses in Colorado.
Yeah.
And there's a Porsche parts store, and they're not asking for anything, right? Not yet, so that means the Colorado Boulevard it's getting worse then? I don't know, there's something bizarre weird there too, right?
And the other thing that I found out just yesterday is that the person who has been for a long time the administrator of Colorado Specific Plan has retired, and I haven't yet heard who the new person is. Contact to send the stuff to. So I've been emailing about this all week, and hopefully when we get more information, I will share. So,
Lisa, what is this, sorry, that you're saying about, because the people from the Farley building have repainted the sign, so you're saying that's against the regulations?
No, I mean, as of now, they've just put paint on it.
Right.
But this is specific to, this was permitted, and if you read the permit, what the permit says is very specific. Per the Colorado specific plan, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. Signage is in no way permitted under this permit. You need a separate permit for this. And so the questions are just following up on all of these things to make sure that that actually happened. And that's all I've been trying to do
And I
this year.
have another question. So you're saying it's a mini mall, but is it considered like a store? Every gas station has a store.
No, the gas station had a store before. Now next to it,
Right, yeah.
there's
Next
an
to the
additional
taco truck.
mobile phone where the taco truck used to be. There's
Used to be.
grand opening, is it? But, and they're also supposed to be, there's a whole bunch of stuff. If any of you are interested, I'm happy to send you the permit.
Yes.
It's also in the archives on the drive, but I can send you links if you're
Yeah,
interested.
send me, I'm interested.
But, again, it's just these questions of, this is what the permit says, and this is what is actually happening, asking questions on behalf of constituents.
We'll bring this up again,
When there's more information, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with Matt, just like, even if it's a Porsche auto parts store, it's still an auto parts store.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different when,
It's more like a store. It's not going to be repairing cars. I'm just.
no, I understand. I think I think that the reason it hasn't come up is because they weren't asking for anything.
Yeah.
They just kind of did a move-in. And so it probably wasn't reviewed by anybody because it didn't go before the design review board. And so I think that that's probably the difference, and it's certainly worth question. But as I said, right now there isn't a person to contact anyway. So as soon as I get more information and get a contact, we can go further with this. As of now, there's not much to be done. All right, I just wanted to fill you all in. Outreach expense of up to $250 for CERT training.
Okay, on February 24th, there's going to be a CERT training at Eagle Rock Rec Center. We recently had a class with over 150 Eagle Rock citizens, stakeholders. Were trained as CERT volunteers. CERT's a community emergency response team. On February 24th at the Eagle Rock Rec Center, there will be training in the next step, which is to say, if you come to an emergency, you have 10 people lying on the ground in various stages of injury, who do you treat first? And on paper, it's very straightforward, but in real life, it can be difficult.
What time is it?
The training, it starts at 9, it runs to 1:30. And we've been asked if we will supply refreshments. And that would, I can go there with the table, with the banner, with the swag, and do outreach to the people who are already Eagle Rock people with CERT and say, listen, the ERNC supports emergency responses training and help bring up our profile with the whole community. We have in the past supported CERT, and I know that there are people who want CPR training also, and I am following up on that. Right. This is just for something else. This is actually very fun. If you are CERT certified, it's great fun because you don't even know how much you don't know until you get there and find out, or look at all these people on the ground, who am I supposed to treat first?
I've done it, and it was a group of high school students who volunteered to be victims, and there were makeup artists who volunteered, and so there were people with brains hanging out of their heads.
I know.
Sticks and pipes hanging out of their sides, and it was great.
They actually have got nurses and paramedics to come to actually back up. Because the last time we did this with Moulage, we found a lot of people, they had the theory in their head, but when it came to practice, it was very difficult. So they're going to have more backup with professionals to help reinforce the CERT training. Anyway, we're only asking up to $250. I've never done this before, so I'm not quite sure how much donuts cost. But up to $250 for like drink, water and refreshments.
And so it's not per participant, it's just for the
It's just a general table with refreshments for the people, because 9, they'll be coming, some people will be there before 9, it goes to 1:30. There will be time, it's not just the people who are actually doing the triaging, it's also the people who are there supporting them.
And how many are you expecting, like, for RSVPs?
I don't know, actually. I forgot to talk to...
Or what's the capacity?
Well, this is going to be at the rec center. They'll have several places. The capacity is actually quite large.
They will have the number that can do the training.
I think that there's not an upper limit. Whoever shows up, they will split them into groups.
Okay.
And the groups are expected, this is as if you were having a real emergency where you don't know who's going to show up. So if you have 50 people show up, and they have 5 stations of injured people, they'll split them into groups of 10.
Yeah. I'm just wondering in terms of like food budget, that.
Well, I was first to say is, I have the ERNC water cooler in my possession. And we do have some swag water bottles, so we could send some of that along as well to cut down on our water budget, because I think that we would all appreciate it if not water bottles.
Thank you.
But and maybe they could say to them also, bring your own water bottle.
And stuff, a lot less than this.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's an up to.
That's why it's one of those up to things. Now, I'm thinking since it's 9:30 to 1:30, that it might be nice to have something snacky that's not just sugar, but I'll talk to Patrick. And I'm cheap, I can try to keep this down as low as possible. But I would like to be able to give something a little more savory than just sugar.
I'd like to move that we approve this request of up to $250 for snacks for the,
Without water bottles.
Yeah, no water.
I just need to do something.
So no water bottles.
Understood. All right, we have a motion.
Second.
Seconded. Is there any further discussion?
No water bottles.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Great, and just to know, if you want to not go out of pocket and be reimbursed, if you go out of pocket and be reimbursed, we'll get together,
Yeah,
okay?
go shopping over here.
Yeah.
She's a treat.
She's great at that. All right, I have no idea what
We're on L.
Yeah, I know, I just don't know.
Okay, ERNC can email letters of support or opposition to the rules, elections, or intergovernmental relations.
That's pretty much it right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it right there. All right, done. All done. All right, election. We have an open seat for Sub-District 2. We do have,
It says one submission.
That's it.
One.
are you here?
Well, that's an easy vote.
Stand up and tell us about yourself. Thank you for making it to the end of the meeting.
Thank you for wearing a jacket.
Wearing a jacket. If just because you're here doesn't mean we're going to.
Completely understand that. Well, one, thank you for giving me the time. When I saw the opportunity, Jesse actually flagged it for me, and I've been meaning to find an opportunity to get engaged with Eagle Rock Neighborhood Council. Raised here in Eagle Rock, I'm a proud product of Eagle Rock Elementary, Eagle Rock High School, and I went to go do my undergrad education at UC Santa Cruz. I'm a banana slug. And I lived out in DC and Boston and made my way back a couple of years ago to do my master's degree at USC in public policy. And so now I'm back here in LA and back home in Eagle Rock in Glen Iris, or off of Glen Iris in Yosemite, across the street from Sub-District 2. But so not quite on Sub-District, but I know people that live in that Sub-District, so I hope will suffice. Actually walked my dog into Sub-District 2, back into Sub-District 1. So, it works out.
Don't listen to that.
And I work at the Los Angeles Alliance for a New Economy, and I'm a project director there, and I director our Long Beach work around economic justice related issues. Right now we're working around sexual assault protections for hotel workers. So I do my work with very much with the racial equity lens, a class-based lens, because I think it's important, and it's personally something that's important for me. I think Eagle Rock is a community that has changed a lot over the years. I think for me, it's been kind of nice to come back and be able to enjoy some of those amenities, but I think with a lot of people, I do have, share some of those concerns about displacement that impact a lot of the communities that have been here for a long time. Right? And my parents were fortunate to buy a home in Eagle Rock when they did, and I'm hoping that I can do something of that nature in the coming years. And so, I would love the opportunity, being a young Latino renter, homegrown, to potentially bring that experience as well as my professional experience to the board and to be able to serve alongside you all, to talk about fun stuff and to help give back to the community. Because really, I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is find an avenue which I can give back to Eagle Rock in the way that it gave to me. So.
Yeah, so we always hold this item last because we want to make you sit through the.
Yeah.
We gotta sit through here. So you're cool, everything, this is kind of it's a pretty typical meeting, I think. This is one of our quicker meetings. We're getting out, before 8:30 is amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to go get a hot or ticket or something like that.
I think I was here during a meeting, we got into past 11, but I needed to.
Exactly. But you're cool with that kind of stuff, yeah.
I think as was mentioned earlier, it's there's different opinions on this.
Do you have a family?
What's that?
Do you have a family?
I don't have a family.
I don't know if we're allowed to ask that.
Yeah, that's
In the interest of diversity, I always want to know.
Are you Miss Sanchez, brother?
Yes.
Oh.
My sister teaches at Eagle Rock.
Okay. Hold on. So, what ideas do you have for the council? Like, what would you want to do? Are there any specific things you want to do, on the council? Anything you'd want to spearhead, specific projects?
Yeah, I'm also former my work. And I worked at the AFL-CIO. I was doing a lot of community and economic development related work. So land use is something that's interesting to me. Homelessness is another thing that's interesting to me. Anything that has any kind of equity implications, I think for me is something that is important. But economic development related is something that's definitely in line with what.
We also do hot dog festivals.
Yeah, which I'm down for too. I like beer, I like watching.
I was just going to ask.
I'd actually go to that homebrewing class on Sunday at the Eagle Rock Brewery.
Oh my God.
So we can talk about that after.
I'm calling the question.
Okay.
All in favor of having Victor
I make a
join the
motion.
board? I make a motion to have Victor join the board.
I second the motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Well done.
The newest candidate has to buy everybody.
So final,
Final.
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
March 8th is next week.
No, March 6th.
March 6th.
March
We'll
6th.
get an email.
February 26th and March 6th.
We're adjourned, thank you.
Where are we meeting? Are we still meeting at Spire?